In trading, when you see something you don't understand, start asking questions. And stop trading what you're trading. You don't want to repeat bad history over and over and over again. Hi, my name's Maggie Roth and I'm an options trader. And today we're going to talk about one of the elements of trading that I really like. I call it the surprise factor. When I first started trading, I would see gap ups and gap downs. And there were times these gaps would just totally derail a perfectly good trade and make it into something pretty horrible. What I did was start looking at these gaps and trying to understand what was going on. In my over 2 decades of trading, I've come to really appreciate these surprise factors because knowing how to navigate them has brought great profits. There are 2 different kinds of surprise factors. But before I get into that, if you haven't already subscribed or liked this channel, please do so now so you can continue to get my tips. And if you want access to the weekly coaching calls, sign up for the 2-week free trial offer now. Just click the link below. There are 2 kinds of surprise factors. The first is a surprise factor that affects the entire marketplace. For me, 9/11 was that kind of surprise factor. It was the most drastic one I ever recall too. An announcement by the government is another surprise factor. For instance, the jobs report comes out on the first Friday of each month. Sometimes they're a surprise, sometimes it isn't. The surprise factor is how the herding community reacts to whatever the news is. If they don't like the news and start selling off, there's a gap down. What I'm saying is it isn't necessarily the news. It's more what the trading herd does with that news, their reaction to it. That's the surprise factor. Earnings announcements also carry a surprise factor. Again, not the earnings announcements, but how the herd reacts to it is a surprise factor. I could go on and on and on, but you get the idea what I'm talking about. And I'll say it just one more time. The surprise factor is how the herd reacts to whatever the news is. So the next question you should be asking yourself right now is, how can I benefit from these surprises? I'm going to show you one of my favorite. I call it a princess trade. Here's an example of one I did on IBM a number of years ago. I had finally perfected my thinking on princess trade and was building a really great track record around earnings announcement. So on IBM, after the market closed on, I think it was October 17th, it had its scheduled announcement. Now its earnings were really good. They came in at $3.30 per share. However, the estimate by the analyst was $3.32 a share. So they were actually off by 2 cents. But the herd, the good old trading herd, overnight, they started buying up the stock. There was your surprise. I kept my eye on the stock, and 3 days later, I saw it start to go down. Here's how I executed the trade. I bought a put in the November 17th expiration period. I paid $4.05 for it. 4 days later, I exited that trade and I sold my position for $8.42. That is a whopping 107.9% gain in just 4 days. That is not the only way I trade these surprise factors. And I've gotten so good at herd watching that I even surprise myself these days. Guys, it's not rocket science, and it's pretty easy to learn. It's easier when you have somebody showing you what they've gone through, though. And I teach all these techniques and a lot more in Investing Buddies. We've seen our students go from losing money to making more than 100% gains every year and better. And right now, you have the opportunity for a free 2-week trial. Just click the link below. You're going to get access to my weekly coaching calls, my trade journals on the trades I do, the weekly watch list that I put together each week, and access to the Investing Buddies community. You've got a question? Throw your question out on the forum. There's going to be people that'll step up and start answering your question. We've got some really high-level traders in our group. We've also got a lot of beginners, so it's a good mix of people. And you'll also have access to all the educational videos and the past coaching calls. There you go. Couldn't give you a better deal. So we'll see you next week, and thanks for listening.